Good day, everybody. Today is a sad day if you're on the same latitude as Drammen and Oslo, simply because we now have to wait 184 days to synthesize our next lot of vitamin D from the sun. I will say that again. We have no more synthesizing ability of vitamin D for 184 days because the sun no longer gets to the right angle in the sky for enough of the UVB rays to hit the Earth's surface up here where we are. So we have to wait 184 days to again be able to synthesize vitamin D through the sun. So what does that mean in real terms? It means that we now have to supplement with vitamin D. We now have to increase the amount of vitamin D we get through our diet. But does that mean that getting out in the sun is pointless? No, not at all. Not in the sense that anchoring circadian rhythm and improving sleep. We also know that getting out in the sun and the daylight is good for psychological health. We also know that it's good for blood pressure. So getting out into the sun, getting out into the daylight is still a vitally important part of your healthy lifestyle. It just means that right now we can't synthesize any vitamin D because the sun doesn't get into a high enough angle in the sky. What else do we lose as we go into winter? As we go into winter, the temperature cools down. Now, we've been quite lucky. This last week, if you're in the Drammen Oslo area, it's been quite warm. And therefore, we've managed to get all the synthesizing we can do out of the last few days before the sun drops too low in the sky. But from now on, probably it's going to get colder. And subsequently, when it gets colder, we put more clothes on. And when we put more clothes on, we expose less of the skin to the sun. And once we expose less of the skin to the sun, we don't get as much of those wavelengths of light penetrating our skin. Now, whether we're talking about red and infrared, maybe we're even talking about greens and yellows, they all have a significant and positive effect on our body's ability to function optimally. And so what we find going into winter is our ability to function optimally starts to decrease. And that's why I recommend that people buy red and infrared lamps for winter time, especially long winter time like here in Norway. Because then we can actually supplement with red and infrared light, which we know is very, very, very good for mitochondrial health. We know that it can play a part in pain regulation, the inflammatory response, gene expression. We know that it can play a part in improving performance, improving recovery, improving healing time. Even now we start to understand its improvements. It's the fact that it has an impact on brain health and anxiety. So if you think about last winter, how did you feel? Probably less energetic, so slightly lethargic. You probably felt that your immune system wasn't as good as it could be. You got sicker slightly more often. You probably didn't feel as mentally switched on. Now, the great thing about having a red and infrared light or lamp or panel in your house is that those things, you can improve those things. You can improve your energy levels. You can improve your mental functioning. All these things have been shown to improve with red and infrared light. But at the same time, as well as improving your performance and your health and your energy levels through red and infrared light supplementation through a panel, we also spend a lot more time indoors because it's cold outside, and we also spend a lot more time under artificial lights because it's darker for longer. Now, that has a negative effect on pretty much every system of your body. But can we get away from it? We can alter our lighting in our home so it becomes more circadian, i.e. it lights up in the middle of the day and then it gets darker towards the end of the day. We can have different colors of light. So we can go for normal kind of indoor lighting around midday and early afternoon, or late morning, midday, early afternoon, then drop it down to yellows and reds in the evening. We can also, like for example, in my house, what I do is I I have different lights for different times of the day. And so in the evening, I will have early evening, I will have reds and yellows going. And then when it goes to late evening, you've seen my pictures before, I will have just red on, because it has the least impact on my melatonin, therefore the least impact on my sleep. And that's something that we can all do. We can all do to improve our sleep, and we can all do to improve our energy levels for the next day, because of course if you improve your sleep, then you improve your energy levels and your motivation and your decision making the next day. We can also invest in blue light blocking glasses. Why blue light blocking glasses? For the same reason. Because the excess blue light from phones, TVs, computers and artificial lighting, which is normal daylight, normal house lighting, is that it makes your body think that it is midday the entire day. So no longer does gene expression occur at the right time. No longer does melatonin secretion happen. It gets phase shifted. So we know that phase shifting melatonin is relatively easy under blue light, and it can phase shift melatonin like 3 hours back. So peak melatonin production happens 3 hours later than it could do. And what do we know about melatonin? Melatonin is one of the most important antioxidants out that, in your body, in that it can get into the mitochondria and repair oxidative stress. So if you are reaching peak melatonin production and secretion 3 hours later than you could do by wearing blue light blockers, then you are effectively losing out on 3 hours worth of repair and regeneration. It's not quite that simple, but you get the point. And therefore it's very, very important that as we head into winter, we think of three things. We think of vitamin D supplementation, because we can't get it anymore. We think of red and infrared light. We need to supplement it with it. We need to adjust our lighting in our home to restrict the amount of blue light in the late evening, and think about wearing blue light blockers to improve our sleep and therefore improve our health and our energy levels and our decision making the next day. All right, so 184 days to the next time you can synthesize vitamin D. That's not too long, is it? In the meantime, get some red light, get some infrared light, look at your own evening lighting, potentially look at investing in blue light blocking glasses. And there is currently an offer on my 300 watt panels. Get 1,000 kroner off. It's just today. I think it's got 12 hours left on that sale. Check out the post below. I think the post previous to this says what code you need in order to use it. Have a great day, stay healthy and get enough light.